Good morning.
It's morning.
Good to see everybody out this morning. Supposed to be a beautiful day, and hope you'll get out and enjoy it. I think it was supposed to be like close to 80 today or something like that. Of course, it may be 40 next weekend, but anyway, enjoy while we got it, right? It's the board's practice that prior to the commencement of our board meeting and before calling the meeting to order, that a prayer be given. The board member who delivers the prayer may make reference to his or her own religious faith, just as you might refer to yours when offering a prayer. We wish to emphasize, however, that members of all religious faiths are welcome not only in these meetings, but in our community as well. The participation of all citizens in the process of self-government will help our Board of Supervisors to better serve the good people of Mecklenburg County. At this time, I will call on Mr. Jennings to bring us prayer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let's pray. Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live. And everyone who lives and believes in me shall never die. John chapter 11, verse 25 and 26. Our Heavenly Father, as we come before you at the beginning of Holy Week, may we be thankful and grateful that Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior. Bring his word to a world that desperately needs peace. Reach out to those that do not know him. Give us all unwavering faith and focus our hearts on the right thing to do. Father, we pray that the people of Ukraine will soon have peace and stability in their country. May freedom always endure in the world. Thank you for the opportunity to lead Mecklenburg County as individuals and together as a board. Grant us open minds that we will know the needs of all people in the county and give us the insight to meet their needs. Thank you for the military and all that have served this great nation, past and present. Thank you for our law enforcement personnel, first responders. Protect them as they protect us. May we live as united people, one nation under God. Let us dedicate our service to making Mecklenburg County a more prosperous place for all citizens, and may our decisions be in accordance with your will. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. At this time, I will now call this meeting of the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors to order. A couple of things I would like to remind you, if you would, please mute or turn off your cell phone so we don't have those interruptions during the meeting. I also want to remind you we have a public comments session during our regular agenda. There's a sign-up sheet at the back of the room. We would ask that you please sign up if you wish to speak. So if you would please stand for our pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Well, we had the same table. We got the seat.
Board, you have in your packet the minutes of meetings of March 14 and March 31. If there are no corrections to those minutes, the chair would entertain a motion to adopt them.
Chairman, I motion that we adopt the March 14 and March the 31st, 2022 minutes.
Okay, you've all heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. You have our agenda before you. I have no additions or deletions. Does anyone else have anything they wish to add at this time? If not, we need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to adopt the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, we've got some public hearings that we need to proceed with. The first is amendment to the zoning ordinance, Article 20 solar. Mr. Henry?
Got an application by the Mecklenburg County Planning Commission to amend Article 20 solar ordinance as follows. 20.3 definition. Community scale solar A solar project that has multiple subscribers that receive credits on their utility bill for a portion of the energy produced by the community solar facility. 20.11, utility scale solar facility. A utility scale solar facility will not be located within 1 mile of any town boundary. The area within which all construction, material storage, grading, and related activities for the utility scale solar facility occurs will be no more than a total of 500 acres. A utility scale solar facility will not be located within 2 miles of another approved or constructed utility scale, small scale, or community scale solar facility to mitigate the impacts related to the scale of the use. No solar project will be located within 1 mile of the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration regulated airport unless the applicant submits as part of its application with written certification from the FFA that the location of the facility poses no hazardous and will not interfere with airport operations. 20.12, small-scale solar facility. A small-scale solar facility will not be located within 1 mile of any town boundary. The area within which all construction, material storage, grading, and related activities for a small-scale facility occurs will be no more than 50 acres. A small-scale solar facility will not be located within 2 miles of another approved or constructed utility scale, small scale, or community scale solar facility to mitigate the impacts to the scale of the use. No solar project will be located within 1 mile of FFA, Federal Aviation Administration, regulated airport unless the applicant submits as part of its application, written certification from the FFA that the location of the facility poses no hazard and will not interfere with airport operations. 20.13, community scale solar facility. A community scale solar facility would not be located within 1 mile of any town boundary. The area within which all construction, material storage, grading, and related activities for the community scale solar facility occurs will be no more than 50 acres. A community scale solar facility will not be located within 2 miles of another approved or constructed utility scale, small scale, or community scale solar facility to mitigate the impacts of the scale of the use. No solar project will be located within 1 mile of FFA, Federal Aviation Administration regulated airport unless the applicant submits as part of its application written certification from the FFA that the location of the facility poses no hazard and will not interfere with airport operations.
Okay. Anyone have any questions concerning this matter before we go to public hearing?
Mr. Chairman, the only question I had, and I discussed it with Mr. Brinkley, was had the planning commission discussed anything about as far as the proximity to lakes or rivers within this?
And I think that, Robert, if I am mistaken, that's kind of in the comp plan, and it's not, we just didn't, of not exactly a distance, but it could be so close to like the Mahern River or water.
We don't really have anything. It's basically when they submit the special exception permit is when those are brought up at how far to be from the streams. But we really don't have anything in writing.
And as part of the special use permit, you can put additional buffers if you want to
Yes.
regarding any of those as a condition of that special use permit.
When the applicant applies.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Yeah, and just for reference, I'd gotten Robert a map that Andy Wells had drawn that gives an idea, if anybody wants to see it, that puts the 1 mile around all of the towns, the 2 miles from the two current facilities, and a half a mile around any of the lakes. Just as a reference down the road, if we're thinking about doing one of these exception permits, the proximity. Because I do personally think there needs to be some setback from a lake or the
Right.
Mahern River or
Right.
something like that.
I agree. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? If not, we will open the public hearing concerning the amendment to the zoning ordinance, Article 20 solar that you've just heard read. Anyone wishing to speak to this matter, please come forward at this time. You will be allotted 3 minutes for your comments.
Mr. Chairman, I won't need 3 minutes for my comments. First of all, I want to say that I don't know that there's anybody in this room any more than me that thinks that Mecklenburg County is absolutely the shining star of Southside Virginia, and we are the best. And that's not up for argument with me for anybody. And one of the reasons is that over the years, we've had farming as our cornerstone. We started as an agrarian county, and we have grown from that point, and yet we're able to maintain our farming and our heritage in that area. Then some years later, we moved into industrial. In the very beginning, I wasn't there for that industrial movement, nor was Randolph, but we pulled into that when our time came and spent many, many hours working to see what industry and what new jobs we could attract and create and attract here in Mecklenburg County. Our vision, meaning Randolph and mine, for this area was one of diversification, because everybody knows the economy goes up and down, and we always knew that when one area was up, another may be down. So we always wanted the cushion. The one cushion we could never foresee, and we had just take us off at our knees, was when both Russell Stover and Burlington went at one time within 6 months of each other. But we tried so hard to have a base that would help us avoid all of that. We just wanted a county that had many different elements. And so with that industrial now, the base, the anchor, is Microsoft. And it is a fine anchor, and it is a wonderful anchor, and I know each of you know how absolutely blessed we are to have them. And I like to tell people everywhere I live in the county that's the home of the largest cloud in the world for Microsoft. So I'm very excited for that. I'm very excited at the possibility that you all are looking for new land, so Angie's got something to market to get some additional diversification. Because I know that's just a process. It takes a very long time to go through it and look and find those spots. But I ask that you add energy into your future for diversification. Don't shut it off. Don't shut the door. Don't anticipate that it would be bad, because I really do think in the long run it would be a very, very good thing for the county. And I hear about Grasshopper. Of course, that's not all that far from my house, but I will tell you the mud, etc., that we hear about. Do ride Old Cox Road, as I know you hear about every day. And so all I'm asking is, it's going to happen with development everywhere. Just be fair. That's all I ask.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, then we will close the public hearing concerning this matter. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we'll accept this amendment to our zoning ordinance.
All right, we have a motion to adopt this amendment to zoning ordinance, Article 20 solar. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Secondly is amendment to the comp plan concerning land use and development. Mr. Hendrick?
Application by the Mecklenburg County Planning Commission to amend the Mecklenburg County Comprehensive Plan, land use and development as follows. Small-scale solar facility. A small-scale solar facility will not be located within 1 mile of any town boundary. The area within which all construction, material storage, grading, and related activities for the small-scale facility occurs will be no more than 50 acres. A small-scale solar facility will not be located within 2 miles of another approved or constructed utility scale, small-scale, or community-scale solar facility to mitigate the impacts of the scale of the use. No solar project will be located within 1 mile of the FFA, Federal Aviation Administration regulated airport, unless the applicant submits as part of his application written certification from the FFA that the application of the facility poses no hazard and will not interfere with airport activities. Community scale solar facility. A community scale solar facility will not be located within 1 mile of any town boundary. The area within which all construction, material storage, grading, and related activities for community scale solar facility occurs will be no more than a total of 50 acres. A community scale solar facility will not be located within 2 miles of another approved or constructed utility scale, small scale, or community scale solar facility to mitigate the impacts to the scale of the use. No solar project will be located within 1 mile of an FFA, Federal Aviation Administration, regulated airport unless the applicant submit as part of his application written certification from the FFA that the location of the facility poses no hazard and will not interfere with airport operations.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions concerning this comp plan amendment before we go to public hearing, board? If not, we will open the public hearing concerning the amendment to the comp plan, land use and development. Anyone wishing to speak to this matter, please come forward at this time. All right, seeing no one, the public hearing is now closed. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I propose that we do the amendment presented to the comp plan.
All right, we have a motion to adopt the amendment to the comp plan, land use and development. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next, we have a rezoning application from Microsoft Corporation. Mr. Hendrick.
Application by Microsoft Corporation to rezone approximately 68.5 acres from PRN 37744, zone industrial M1 to agricultural, to be added to PRN 37746. This property identified as county tax number 032-000-05-001A, zone as industrial M1, is located on the north side of Highway 831, Butler Farm Road, approximately 0.2 of a mile south of its intersection with Highway 688, Skipper's Road, Election District 8, County of Mecklenburg, reference deed book LR-21-4874.
All right, anyone have any questions or comments? Mr. Carter, you have any comments on this matter before we go to public hearing?
I'll be glad to speak on it. Mo's not able to be here today. The original land, when we rezoned for the ethanol plant, 151 acres was left agriculture. The remaining 2 parcels to the north were zoned industrial. We're taking back 68.5 acres of that land and rezoning that back to agriculture. This will all go into conservation easements or for wetlands bank.
Any other questions before we go to public hearing? All right, at this time, we will open the public hearing to consider the rezoning application, Microsoft Corporation, that you just heard read. Anyone wishing to speak to this matter, please come forward at this time. Okay, seeing no one, the public hearing is now closed. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we, for the rezoning, Microsoft Corporation.
And we have a motion to approve the rezoning application, Microsoft Corporation. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next, we have a public hearing on proposed amendments to the FY 2021-2022 budget. Mr. Carter, you going to speak to that?
Yes, sir. As part of our budget process last month, we had several supplemental items that would require public hearings because there were more than 1% increase in our total budget. They were the school board instruction item to increase from $34,233,378 to $36,983,378. School board federal line item would increase from $5,682,000 to $3,379 to $8,578,522. The new high school construction line item would increase from $40,711,206 to $43,758,206. $762,259, and the industrial stimulus refund line item would increase from $44,846,930 to $50,346,930. There are no additional local funds involved in any of these supplemental appropriations.
Okay. Board, do you have any questions before we go to the public hearing? All right, we will now open the public hearing to consider the proposed amendments to the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget that you just heard outlined. Anyone wishing to speak to this matter, please come forward at this time. Seeing no one, the public hearing is now closed. Board, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we approve the amendment to the budget 21-22 year.
All right, you've heard the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next is a public hearing concerning proposed voluntary boundary adjustment agreement. Mr. Slayton?
Yes, sir. There's a corporate citizen in the county owning land, partly within the town of Chase City, but the majority in the county. That excuse me, property owner wanted to ask for a boundary line relocation so that the land would be entirely in the county and none in the town. And the reason for that was to minimize the regulatory agencies with which it has to deal. This was brought before the town of Chase City's manager. An agreement has been negotiated. You're asked, if you adopt this resolution, to approve the agreement. Chase City Town Council will be asked at their meeting, which I understand is tonight. If you both approve the agreement, there'll be a petition filed in court and a court order presented, and the effect of the court order will be to relocate the boundary so that the property in question will be entirely in the county and none of it in the town. And this is supported by the town of Chase City.
Okay, all right. Any questions on that matter?
And the town manager's here, Mr. Rhodes, Dusty Forbes, if you want any questions for him.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
We are enthusiastic about supporting this, just to facilitate the Microsoft growth in the county. We feel it's going to be a benefit to us in the long run. It's a minimal amount of land, and so we are looking forward to this going through. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other questions or comments before we go to public hearing? All right, well, we'll now open the public hearing to consider the proposed voluntary boundary adjustment agreement that you just heard explained by Attorney Mr. Slayton. Anyone wishing to speak to this matter, please come forward at this time. All right, seeing no one, the public hearing is now closed. Board, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we approve of the volunteer boundary adjustment.
All right, you've heard the motion to approve this boundary adjustment. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We have with us this morning Ms. Beth Englehorn with Southside Behavioral Health. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for letting me have some time with you this morning. My name is Beth Englehorn. I'm the Executive Director for Southside Behavioral Health. I'd like to start just by saying thank you to the board and to the community for all your support, both financially and otherwise throughout the years. And I just wanted to bring to you where we are with our budget this year and the highlights for this coming year as we start building out our new fiscal year. We have a budget for FY22 of $15.4 million this year. We are currently running behind in earnings in that budget and are running 6% behind in expenses, so we have about a 3% surplus for our budget this year. This surplus is largely due to hiring barriers, and I know we're all kind of in the same boat as far as finding qualified staff. Southside has had a hard time hiring people that are licensed and qualified to provide services, but we're slowly making gains with that. Remaining balances in revenue will go towards staff increases and to cover increases in healthcare benefits. We had a 23% increase in our healthcare benefits this year. And, you know, that's adds up to quite a bit per person. Southside covers 80% of our staff's healthcare benefits. And the board is increasing that cost to see if we can absorb a good portion of that 23%. However, we're still going to have to pass on 12% to our staff, which is significant. We have about 3,000 individuals that we see across all three counties. Mecklenburg is about 43% of those 3,000 people. While this number did decrease somewhat over COVID, we didn't see a sharp decrease in services. We're now seeing numbers increasing with the reopening of our day support programs and psychosocial rehab. Starting to see things coming back online. We've released all our mask requirements, and so our doors are now wide open. Our local match request is based on state funding, as seen below. Our match requests this year were similar to last year. Mecklenburg's is $225,336. And I sent that request to Mr. Carter towards the end of December, which was when we typically figure that out. Highlights for this coming year. We're actually building out a good deal of our emergency services in all three counties. We're going to be centralizing those services in Mecklenburg. We're in the process of renovating a building in South Hill. I believe it's on Mecklenburg Avenue, about 2 miles from the hospital. And we're going to be centralizing all of our emergency services in that building for all three counties. And so that's going to be quite an undertaking. We're also moving all of our adult and child services to that building in Mecklenburg to ease some of the transportation issues. Right now, they're all in Boynton. And so we're trying to put it into a more centralized location so that people can get there easier. We're also running out of space because we're growing. And so this will give us more space to operate more programs out of. The changes in emergency services will be that we'll be moving to a more community-based model, which means that we're going to be going out to crisis rather than expecting people to come in. This is called mobile crisis and a crisis response team, which actually we've seen a sharp decrease in the number of emergency custody orders. So we're hoping that this will lower the number of people who actually go into that level of crisis, which will help everybody in the long run, including our law enforcement, which is now sitting numerous days in the emergency department waiting for a hospital bed to open up in our state facilities. We have found funds to cover the hours that they are there. So at least if we have to pull from their on-duty officers, we are at least able to pay them to be there. We've sharply increased our access to children's services and we'll be increasing our level of children's services. We now provide mental health care in the school system. We have one clinician from Mecklenburg County. We have just gotten a grant to hire a family support partner and case manager for Mecklenburg County to be in the school system, which allows children to access mental health counseling and other treatment during their school day. And this has sharply increased the ability for kids to see their clinician without having to leave school, without having to make appointments with parents to take off work. This is at no cost to the school system. We've been able to do this with grants and with fee-for-service billing. We did obtain a grant that provided us with funding to hire two clinicians, and we continue to seek grants to build out our school-based services. We've been providing them since August of 2021. In addition to this, we are actually still in the running for the USDA grant, which we sought additional funds for last October. They continually ask for more and more information, And we're hoping at some point they will make their decision and let us know. And I will let you know as soon as I hear back from them. Lastly, Southside is sponsoring a statewide conference this year, Building Trauma Responsive Communities. This conference is being held with the support of the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities. Virtual conference, May 12th and 13th. That's free to the public. It's free to any provider. We have our keynote speaker is Dr. Bruce Perry. I don't know if any of you are aware of Dr. Perry's work, but he recently released a book with Oprah Winfrey called What Happened to You, a national bestseller. We are thrilled to have him as our keynote speaker, and we hope you all will attend the conference. I included a flyer in your information, so all you have to do is go on and register, and we hope to see you all there. Also, Southside Behavioral Health is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. We were established by you in 1972 and have been providing services this past 50 years. And we're just proud to be able to provide these services to the community and proud to still be growing and increasing our level of care for individuals in Mecklenburg County. And again, we just want to take the time to thank you, and we hope that if we have any celebration events, that you might come. We're actually going to be dedicating one of our buildings to Dr. Jules Medlinski, who was the executive director for Southside for over 20 years. So when we get that event established, we will let you know. We hope to see some of you there. Do any of you have any questions for me?
Any questions?
I do. I think Chief Deputy Ezel and I are quite interested in the reimbursement of officers who are held at
Yes.
hospitals. We want to know some more information about how you're doing that, because we're not sure how we're getting any money back yet.
Well, if an officer is at one of the emergency rooms and I send information out about how to access this money, all we need is an invoice from the Sheriff's Department, and we will reimburse them.
Can you send me that? I'll get it, or you can give it to Andy on your way out.
Absolutely.
Today, that information, so we can be applying for that.
Absolutely.
We're not aware of that. Were you, Andy? Okay.
You had no knowledge of that?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I did send that out to everybody, so I don't know, it's in an email and they get lost, I know, so.
We'll figure it out.
But we have, of course, it's a limited amount. I think we've spent $7,000 of our $10,000 that we have to use for that. But, we have $7,000 left of that $10,000. So if there's any way we can help support those officers and relieve some of the cost of that, we're happy to.
I'm sure we've got some
figure
time
that.
sheets that we can
And
find.
if it goes back, if it's in the past, you can still submit it back 6 months. Okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, I have a question. I know you're very concerned about the 23% increase in staff and healthcare benefit. Do you anticipate a large increase for your next year budget?
It's never, I can never predict what our healthcare benefit increase is gonna be because it's based on use. So we had a decrease the year before and a decrease the year before that, and the year before that, we had a 7% increase. And so this year was just a sharp increase in the amount of insurance that people use due to illnesses in their family or illnesses of the individuals that work for us. And so it's hard for me to even try to guess what our health insurance increase or decrease will be. They sort of surprise us. I believe next year we're going out for bid to see if we can find a different carrier.
Okay, thank you.
Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Any other questions, comments? Well, thank you for your report. Thank you for your services, and congratulations on your 50 years.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Okay.
Mr. Nichols has an update on our new school facility, which is quite a sight to see as I drive by on my way to Boise.
It's looking better and better.
All right. Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, once again, every month we try to bring this update to you. And this month, I think you'll notice a pretty significant change because most of the pictures that you will see, or many of the pictures that you will see, will actually be things that are on the inside of the building that are showing that we're getting closer and closer to completion. So we'll go through the typical data on construction and funding and so forth. Current progress, you'll notice again, there are a lot of things that are inside. Ceiling cover inspections have started. Installation of permanent fixtures is ongoing. That's permanent fixtures such as the whiteboards in the classrooms, the lockers, of various things that are actually internal to the building. The hanging cloud systems in the hallways, those are the substructures for the roofing that students would see as opposed to all the wiring and whatnot. Installing the casework around the building. Elevators are now installed. We have an elevator on each side for the need of handicapped as well as getting ready materials up and down for the second floor. The terrazzo and resinous floors are ongoing. The resinous floors are typically polished concrete, and you'll be able to see that. It's amazing how well they can look. The front curtain wall is complete. One thing that I'll mention, as you see the picture, I'll point out that the picture we typically get from above does not show that, but it really is coming along nice to see that curtain in the front. That's a very fun addition to the program. Fuel station construction is completing. That's the bus fueling that would be at the bottom of the hill as you go down towards the middle school athletic facilities. And then now we have some landscaping and trees being installed for it to be looking good as people come through. Substantial completion, August the 1st of 2022. We're still planning for the grand opening on the Friday, the 4th of August for the ribbon cutting. We have secured even more hope that the governor and several state officials will be available for that. And we're thankful there will be a dinner for those of you and the school board and other special guests that will be coming in that night, and then a concert on that night, and then the weekend, that Saturday the 5th, there'll be tours, silent movie that night, and then on Sunday afternoon, some more tours, as well as opportunities for church groups, praise teams, and others to come and play and get to see the facility, as everybody's been excited about. We are looking at installing many of the other components. As you can see, the gym floors, the wooden floors, the equipment's being moved. When you start moving equipment, you know you're getting closer and closer into place. So that will begin probably around the 18th of April. Floor polishing in the high school second floor on the 20th of April, and the diffusers for the air systems on April the 28th, excuse me. Budget still at $109,466,015. And you can again see with the owner direct purchases that we have now that the things that we're looking at are some of the final completions. The barn, the greenhouses, technology equipment that needs to be going in is currently being purchased, as well as the seating orders for the auditorium seating, bleachers, and gym floorings. Okay, this is actually a March. We always end up having our meetings just before the plane flies over to do the thing. So this is the March aerial view of the site. Again, when you look right in the front, you cannot see that canopy right in the very beginning or some of the completion of the sidewalks that's in place. But you'll see those in the pictures that we do up close. And this is as a close-up of the building itself. A long way since April 2 years ago. Aerial view of the high school athletic facilities. An aerial view of the middle school athletic facilities. That grass in those areas should be greening up pretty soon now. Landscaping and seating on the slopes. You can see some of the trees that have put in on the side as you would be looking over the middle school athletic facilities here. And then the rear high school canopy and sidewalk. This is the last place that we had significant rock to be removed in order to be able to get those floorings in. The fenced-in yard around the CTE areas which on the inside of that will be concrete, and you can see in the background and in this picture, the outdoor pavilion for the JROTC program that was required. Now we see the flooring going into the gyms that's being ready to be installed, a very exciting addition to our gyms. Casework in the science labs and other areas that's being installed. You can also see the ceilings that we were talking about, the areas that are being put in there to cover the ductwork and those areas, as well as the painting, and then the flooring that's being, the areas that need to be not polished, but being continued and painted. Not painted, they are resinous flooring. And then locker room areas in the various locker rooms, being prepared for those to be installed. More of the flooring in those areas so that they won't be slick. And fixtures being installed in the important places that those fixtures need to be. And then in the dining hall, you can see the beautiful floors that'll be there. These are not polished yet, but when they're polished, they're gonna really shine, as well as being able to see the entire area for the community to use as well as the students. This is a 1,500 capacity dining hall for the high school, looking the other way from that area. And then, the middle school, 1,300 capacity area for the middle school. And looking south. So, it's coming along. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I have a quick question. With regards to the facility, you will be having tours for the local fire departments as they'll be needing to understand
Yes.
everything.
The police have
Second,
asked.
third, do on those, correct?
We will be, yes. The police have already asked, the state police have asked, we'll be setting up those tours. Most of the tours, because of all the work being done on the inside, will probably begin early June, maybe late May, but most likely early June.
Want to make sure all those will be.
Yes. Other questions? Yes, sir.
I think the thing that's impressed me and maybe even amazed me so much is the fact that we're on schedule and on budget when you consider everything that the country's had to deal with in the last 2 years. I would not have been shocked at all if you had appeared here one day and said, you know what? Looks like we're gonna be a year late because we can't get this or we can't get that. So I don't know what magic wand you guys are using
There's
out
been
there.
a lot of prayer going up, Mr. Barber. I'm going to tell you.
I'll tell you.
A lot of prayer.
It's truly amazing. I congratulate, you and Skanska and the contractor and.
We do give a lot of credit to Skanska. That was very wise concept, and I would recommend to any division looking at building anything of this size, absolutely go with a system program. Skanska's done an outstanding job. Cleveland has done an outstanding job. I believe that the superintendent that we've had working on this job has just, when we've had delay in one area, he's found ways to go into another area and keep things going there so that we're keeping caught up. You get to the final stages like this and you find that there are many conflicts of one type or another, but they're finding ways to work those out. I'm having a meeting today with Bill Upton about some final things, so hopefully we will continue in that way, but I would say many thanks to the many ministers that have met with us at times to pray. Mr. Hargrove, Reverend Hargrove has been a big part of that, and we're just continuing in that way. But I appreciate it. We're still hopeful. My mother always said there's many a slip between the cup and the lip, so we haven't got much further to go, but we're going to working on that.
So you've already secured desks and, all the equipment that needs to go in, and that's all already been secured ahead of time?
That which has been identified, we have found ways of getting most of everything in place. There's still a few components that we're seeing that there could be some delay on, but they don't seem to be the most essential items at this point. So that's why you see substantial completion. There could be some things that are still we could be waiting on, but we'll be able to open school.
Yeah, I saw that word, substantial.
Substantial. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I saw they had bringing in lumber for the gym floor? Lumber for the gym floor?
Yes, ma'am?
Okay, so the gym floors will be wood.
Yes.
The halls were cement, right, painted.
No, they're wood.
The halls are wood also?
The halls are not wood, no, ma'am.
That's what I said. The halls are cement, right?
There's the special flooring that's going in between the front entrance and all the way back to the cafeterias. And you saw that. I think I can go back.
And they are painted, right?
It's not painted. Nothing is painted.
Just
It's all maintenance. We put it in so that it has the least expensive and best way to keep them maintained possible through the years. But it's not wood. The gym floors had to be wood, but other than that, it's polished concrete or that special type of flooring that's not
Terrazzo.
the terrazzo that would go into the main area. Yes.
Well, all the other floors will be on the same color,
Yes.
on the floors.
Yes, ma'am.
I know in some schools, they have different colors.
There
Different
are
areas
some
like language arts or science.
in the various hallways. We have different colors so that they can be on the walls. Yes, ma'am. That helps. It's a large facility, and it helps with when we're trying to particularly have students coming in that are new to the area to be able to say your classes are on the yellow hallway or the red hallway for this and another for that. And then, of course, we've been emphasizing the 6 career academies. Each of the career academies have their own unique color, and they're identified on the CTE program area.
Now, give me some more information on your lockers, on our lockers, on the lockers for the schools.
There are lockers that will be available for the athletics. We do not have, not recommended when we first started this program that there would be 1 locker per child in each side, but we have sufficient numbers that at the athletics and for different things that would be going on that they can have it there. One of the issues with lockers is lockers create areas where people can hide, and that's a safety issue. So we've had to balance all of that part of it, and we'll be working with that. And then there are a lot of lockers that just are never used.
Have you considered, or have the school board considered the number of security personnel they would need?
We have been working with the county and with the SROs. We're looking at having 2 SROs at each school. Now we have 4, so the 2 middle school SROs will be coming to the middle school, and the 2 high school SROs will be coming to the high school.
Okay, final question. You said that we have an open cutting ribbon on August the 4th?
Yes,
Am I
ma'am.
correct? Okay.
4:30.
Okay, are we gonna have anything like free or either for sale, like souvenir shirts or cups or?
Yes, ma'am. There will
Okay.
be items available
Okay.
for everybody
Okay,
to be looking at.
all right, I'm finished.
Okay. Thank you.
How's the auditorium going? You didn't have any pictures of the auditorium. Is the seating in there yet, or?
The seating has been ordered. If you were to walk in there now, you'd see a lot of the work on the ceiling, the panels, the cloud. They call the cloud for the acoustical tiles and things of that nature that are going in. We're looking at the equipment, the sound equipment, the light equipment to be coming in very soon, but the seating has not yet gone in.
All right. Excellent. Any more questions? All right.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
sir. Well, this brings us to our public comment section. Just want to remind anyone speaking that, you are allowed 3 minutes to make your comments, and we encourage you to speak to us on any matters of concern that you have for our county. Mr. Carter, any signups?
The only person who signed up, Ms. French, has already left, so.
Okay. So moving on, we have a report from the Joint Education Committee meeting. Mrs. Lundy?
Yes. Good morning. The Joint Education Committee met on Thursday, March the 17th, 2022 at 5:00 p.m. in the Board of Supervisors meeting room. Members present were Claudia Lundy, chairperson, David Brinkley, Glancy Spain, Glenn Edwards, Ms. Dora Gardner, Paul Nichols by virtually, Wayne Carter, also ex officio. Also present was Abe Jeffries and Brian Dalton. Members absent was Lindell Palmer. Ms. Lundy called the meeting to order. All present stood and pledged allegiance to the flag. Upon a motion of Mr. Spain, seconded by Mrs. Garner, the committee voted unanimously to adopt the agenda as presented. Upon a motion of Mr. Brinkley, seconded by Mr. Spain, the committee voted unanimously to approve the minutes of the July 20, 2021 meeting. The committee next heard a project update on the new Mill High School project from Vince Mariska, project engineer with Skansky. He stated that the project is nearing completion as work continues, both inside and outside of the facility. Substantial completion is still on schedule for continued both inside August the 1st, 2022, and owner's direct purchasing is ongoing. Ms. Garner questioned if there would be security cameras throughout the facility. Currently, there are 250 playing in the facility or for the facility. Mr. Dalton reviewed the current 5-year CIP and its progress. Most of the projects are already complete, using year-end funds, CARE funds, and other sources of additional state funding. Some projects in the 3 elementary schools are on hold, pending a final decision on the replacement of the facilities. The next item discussed were the new items in the 2022-23 CIP, which include turf equipment at the new school, the hiring of an architect to design the elementary schools, a 60x100 storage warehouse at the transportation headquarters, and disposal of unused furniture from the closed Mill High School. The total cost for these projects is $1,400,000. Mr. Carter stated that currently the county has funding set aside for debt service for replacing the 3 elementary schools. Based upon cost estimate, the debt service would be approximately $2.5 million per school. No decision was made on the elementary school replacements. Upon a motion of Mr. Spain, seconded by Mrs. Garner, the meeting was adjourned. Thank you.
All right, thank
No
you.
action was taken.
Thank you for that report. Budget and Finance, Mr. Spain?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Board, I assume each person had a copy of the budget report. I read the Budget and Finance Committee met on Monday, April 11th, 2022 at 8:15 a.m. in the Board of Supervisors meeting room. Member President Glanza Spain, Chairman David Brinkley, Jim Jenny, Charles Jones, and Sterling Wilkinson. Also present Glenn Barber and Hargrove, Claudia London, Tom Towner, Wayne Carter, County Administrator, Judy Shutfield, Assistant County Administrator, Ella Gotcha, and Deborah County Administrator, Ed Taylor, Commissioner of Revenue, and Samuel Langford, Treasurer. The Chairman called the meeting to order. And Mr. Carter advised that the Sheriff Department had received $17,507 in donation from the various contractors at Microsoft through Wallbridge fundraising to help purchase an addition dual-purpose K-9 unit. Upon the motion of Mr. Wilkinson, the committee unanimously recommend approval of supplemental appropriation in the amount of $17,507 to the Sheriff's Police Supply Line item for the 2022 budget. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
All right, you've heard the motion, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Next, Mr. Carter advised that the Economic Development Department have received $212,150.25 in Small Business Recovery Grant Fund. Upon the motion, Mr. Jones, the committee unanimously recommend approval of the supplemental appropriation and the amount of $212,150.25 to Economic Development FY22 budget. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
All right, Okay, you've heard that motion. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Carter explains the proposed ordinance and tax solar facility for 5 megawatts or less. This was an exception previously in the state code. Upon motion, Mr. Brinkley, the committee unanimously recommend approval of this ordinance to the board. The Chairman, I'd like to put that also in the form of a motion.
Okay, you've heard that motion. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Next is, Mr. Carter explains the proposed amendment to the excavation clause and solar facility and storage facility. Upon the motion of Mr. Jennings, the committee unanimously recommend the amendment as presented. Anyone want to see the amendment? Check with the county administrator and you can read that. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion that was made by Mr. Jennings.
You've heard that motion. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
There'll be no further business. The meeting will adjourn. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Payne. Landfill Committee, Mr. Wilkinson.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Landfill Committee met on Monday, April 11th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. in the Board of Supervisors meeting room. Members present, Sterling Wilkinson, Chairman, David Brinkley, Jim Jennings, Claudia Lundy. Also present, Glenn Barber, Glancy Spain, Charles Jones, Andy Hallgrove, Tom Tanner, Wayne Carter, County Administrator, Judy Sheffield, Assistant County Administrator, Alex Gottschalk, Deputy County Administrator, Jenny Whittemore, Executive Administrative Assistant. Mr. Wilkinson called the meeting to order. Mr. Carter and Mr. Gravitt explained to the request to have the county pay the tipping fees for Lake Country Disposal when they use the regional landfill. Upon a motion of Mr. Jennings, the committee unanimously agreed to pay the tipping fees for Lake Country Disposal at the SRPSA as long as they only service Mecklenburg County residents. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to pause right there, put that in the form of a motion to the full board.
Okay, all right, you've heard that motion. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Carter explained that we're almost ready to open the Penn Road site and the schedule for closing the existing green box sites. There being no further business, the meeting will adjourn. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, Mr. Carter, County Administrator's reports.
Yes, sir. Please look at your building inspector's report for the month. Building permits are still way up while the number is down because of additions. Would like to point, for manufactured homes, the average cost of a single wide now is $100,000, according to Mr. Harris. Yes, sir, Mr. Harris. That's the average cost, okay? Which means that some of them even higher. Double wides are even higher than that. You have 14 new homes on this one. That is up substantially, and the cost of these are much higher than the $275,000 that kind of shows in this report from what we're seeing downstairs. Building permit fees are still holding steady. If you have questions on that, Robert had a record month on zoning. I believe that's probably because of ENS plans, which is taking up more and more of his time. 12232 review, that'll be coming up to the Plan Commission next month for Dominion. You have the animal control warden's report. About 75% of the animals were still able to be either returned to the owner or adopted out. A large number returned back. If you have any questions on that. Sheriff's Department, we had over 500 traffic tickets, both summons and traffic. So I'm guessing courts have opened back up down the street, and it's a good thing we have our additional parking lot now on those Fridays when the sheriff's office has that. You've also got his March report. They did over 2,300 different reports, with the majority of those being businesses. Mr. Smith's here with regards to the VDOT report, if he would like to speak on that.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Y'all should have got our monthly report in y'all's package. I will add that we've been working on shoulder repairs on primaries to repair the shoulders after this winter. weather we had. We're also cutting brush, and we'll be breaking ground on the rural rustic projects this month. Spring litter pickup is complete on the primaries, and we'll plan to pick up some more this summer after we do a mowing. Been daily presence out on Route 660. That will continue until that project out there is done. And also, I will add that out here on Route 92 down here at Butcher's Creek, this morning they was out there in the process of getting the signals hung and setting the work zones up. I expect that to be a single lane road by the end of today. Right now, we're looking at 11-foot lane restriction out there on the first phase. Once they get done with the first phase and swap sides, it'll be a 14-foot restriction. That project is estimated to go until August of 2023 is the completion date. That's all I have this morning. I'll be glad to take any questions if it's any.
Do you have any feel for when they may start that construction on that 58 out there at Cracker Barrel?
Oh, no, sir. No, sir. That's
Okay.
down the road. Yes, sir. That's a couple of years.
So I'm gonna have to be irritated for years. I guess.
No, sir. No, sir. I will look and get back with you, but I mean that's. a
Hey,
couple
years down the
years.
road suits me just fine.
I think that's a good place to be.
Way down the road.
Yeah, way down the road.
Kick it down.
Anyone else have any questions? Thank you, sir.
All right,
Appreciate it.
thank y'all.
Finally, you've already heard from Southside Behavioral Health, and you have their monthly report in the board packet. Any questions for me?
Mr. Carter, I'm going back now to the building permits. How much have they increased over the last year?
The numbers increased back, Ms. Lundy, in approximately 2,000 with COVID. And last year was our record. We're still on pace with that right now. New houses is where the huge increase is. If you took all of our neighbors around us and combined their new houses, they wouldn't equal what our monthly is. But I mean, that's looking at 4 counties around us, from what I can understand. You know, we used to be 2 to 3 houses a month. We're averaging double digits now. So when you look at that, some months as high as 19. 14 is still an excellent month. But when we have a month of 3 or 4, which I think we hit in December and January, that's a slow month. So that used to be a good month in years past, Ms. Lindsay. So we've got literally about, last I talked to Eddie, 40 or 50 of them that are just sitting there, and they're steadily coming in. That he said, the building permits were issued months ago. Contractors are just waiting on materials, et cetera. But these are new houses. They're steadily going up. So there's enough in the queue probably for everybody to be working for about 2 years right now.
So you can't specify maybe if they have gone up like within the past year, 2 years, 10%, 20%?
Well, you can look every year. At the end of the year, we give you a report, and I can go back and get those.
Oh, don't look now. Okay.
I can't today, but it shows you how many were done for the entire year.
Okay. So someone had asked me that question. Okay.
Yeah, but as for which ones are, we don't go in and say, okay, this house has begun construction. We don't keep up with that.
Okay.
Those are just, once you get a permit, it's just active.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. We'll move on to probably our new favorite topic, other than the 6-year plan. That's redistricting. Alex, look forward to your report.
Well, I sure hope it doesn't take 6 years, so that'll be.
It's been more than 6 years on the 6-year plan.
Yeah.
We gotta find him a screensaver.
Okay, this is the.
We're gonna put screensavers in the budget.
I'll get him one for free for
Okay, so in March, mentioned that we had to deal with South Hill first. And once that was done, then we could proceed on to the rest of the county. And at the end of March, we decided on a course for South Hill. So here we are, a week later or so, week and a half later, and now we have maps for the whole county. So Very efficient over here. So this is the timeline. This was shown last month, and now we have completed step 1, and we are on step 2. I do want to emphasize that we're not in a particular rush to have to adopt something because we do not need anything in place for this calendar year. So if any of this schedule slides at any point by a month, there's no harm in that. We will not be missing out on anything. We will not be late. We will not be in trouble with the Office of the Attorney General. But this is the proposed schedule at present. As you can see, there will be some time in between when this is presented now and whenever your comments and then a final map is proposed. So there's, if you need to, gather more information, then you do have the time to do that. And then, of course, this will go into effect in 2023, and all of your districts will stay as is through the 2023 election. So nobody needs to move, nobody needs to, represent a different district, anything like that. The current maps will stay in place until those elections. Just as a reminder, showed this slide about 10 days ago or so, but the average district should be, if all else is equal, about 3369, that's rounded, which is less than last time because the population of the county decreased. So everybody is going to lose some people in a total amount sense that you have presently. Every district is going down in population size. Also, I want to point out that I tried my best to stay in a range that is less than the minimum acceptable and less than the maximum acceptable. So in all of the presentations, the districts range generally between 3,300 and 3,400, not 32 to 35. So really kept it more like a 2% variance. Before going on to the maps, I do want to make one other point. You will not have to vote if you do not wish to on any of these maps in totality. You do not have to pick ultimately option A, B, C, or D. We can do combinations of them. If you like aspects of some but not the other, we can work our best to cobble those together. Now, sometimes that's not going to be possible just because of population assignments and where the territory that can switch is. Obviously, if there's an area that's well within the scope of a district, and that's kind of the district contours in all the maps, then that's not going to be able to be moved. But some of the areas on the margins can be. So if there's a certain road where the district is proposed to go, but you rather it go one road south of there, those adjustments most likely could be made. So just, everything that you like to see, just let me know, and I'll work to incorporate that. But if I could have a running list of feedback, that would be helpful as we transition in the next 2 months from these proposed multiple options to one solitary single option. So the first map here is basically the focus of District 1 would be to cross the water and come north from Mr. Hargrove's house and go encompass where we're presently sitting today would now be in District 1, which is that light brownish color in the center right here. District 2 would run more north than it is now and take all of the town of Chase City. District 3 would be south of the highway, as we talked about in March, and would continue to run all the way down to the southern part of the county and now pick up this little area that is currently District 1 that faces the north side, the north bank here. So this would all be District 3. District 4 is the 2 wards of South Hill, as discussed in March, and then would run north. District 5 is a very compact district here in the east. District 6 would now run far more south than it does presently, pick up an entire area, and now cross and get the whole Palmer area on this down this way, both US 1 and 85. District 7 would push all the way to the east, and in this version would drop under South Hill in this kind of territory that really doesn't have any other home. District 8 would come around the east side of in this area, and also would pick up some south of water area that is presently in District 9, and then District 9 would generally stay in the same area that it is now, but move a little bit towards the east in the southern part here. As mentioned in this version, all the districts are in that 3,300 range, and as you can see here, these are the minority voter age population percents. I used voter age as opposed to general population because, frankly, 0 to 18 isn't really useful for determining who can cast a ballot. So I thought that was a more appropriate metric for determining what is a minority-based population in terms of electing a candidate, and that VAP or VAP is what is now used in most federal courts to determine these matters. So that's the percentages. As you can see, we've got 3 above the 50% threshold. So I will pause for any questions on this one, because it's probably easier to go through the questions one by one, or I can do them all at the end, as preference may be.
So in District 1, Andy would lose part of Clarksville, is what I'm seeing?
Yes, that is correct. Clarksville would pretty much, in this option, be almost entirely, or at least the core downtown part would be entirely in District 9, yes.
Well, I've never been downtown. The only part I had is 4th and 9th Street. It was, and I cross over Iron Gate Road and go.
Right.
It just was a sliver, kind of in there.
So, but there's a place called Timbuktu. And
I love you, Doug.
And also, it appears
Tom does. He's got Timbuktu.
Tom.
See, you were giving it to the wrong person.
I just wanted to clarify that because Sterling doesn't get that.
I kind
But
of
just wait.
I thought I read the map right, but I wasn't going to say anything.
so instead of going in District 9 and going up Bluestone Creek, which it originally went down the left-hand side all the way to Bluestone Creek, and then it went up the creek, where then you were on both sides of 15 North. Now you go to Lawson's Landing, where that property is, or some. I'm trying to figure out where that water stops and starts on Bluestone. So I'll end up getting both sides of 15, not just the left-hand side. Correct?
So 15 is the boundary of the district. Yes. This right here is 15. This right here is 15. So 15 is the
15
is the boundary of the district in this version. Yes.
In that version, okay.
Okay. Then we'll proceed to the next option here. And so in this, it's pretty similar. It was built with the same basis point. The big difference comes between District 2 and 8 in this version. Here, District 2 becomes more northern, still has all of Chase City, but then picks up this whole area on the northwest corner of the county. As a result, it loses all of Skipwith and everything in here, which now becomes District 8. So this kind of was designed to be more visually, geographically compact is this variant of the, or maybe I shouldn't use variant in this time of pandemics, but in this option, that's the distinguished part between this one and the preceding one, is it's just takes away some of those jut outs that you see in the western part of the county. All right, then we'll move on to the third option, and this one is quite a bit different. The basis point to start out with here, once South Hill was adjudicated, was to take District 1 and run it up US 1 and pick up some of the areas that were precedingly in District 4. So that would, as a result, everything east of the kind of US 1 area on the south side now goes away from District 1 and gets put into District 6 in this case. The difference here elsewhere, District 2 is pretty similar to the first option that was shown. District 3, 4, and 5 are almost essentially the same, with the only difference District 3 would not get that one part of the south area here. District 6 in this one keeps its northern portion that was taken away, that currently was taken away in the first option and now is retained in this one. As a result, instead of going east to west, District 7 now pushes all the way south, goes below Highway 58 all the way till there's no more landmass. District 8 would come east, and we would now be sitting in District 8 if this was the adopted map. And then District 9, again, would keep, is mainly similar to where it is today. The difference here would be to keep this area right here, which is taken away in the first option. As a result, that the rest of the 15 corridor goes into District 8. And in here, Clarksville is still retained with some of the portions that are presently today in Mr. Hargrove's district would remain in District 1 in this option. Okay.
Are we able to get copies of each one of these, or can you email them to us?
There will be, and that is a slide that is to come.
Okay.
But
I didn't know
yes.
if we could get
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
So, I didn't know if
What-
you want all these different versions floating around like that.
We do want people to be able to view them, and we'll get into that in a second. What we don't want to do is print out a large, big map, real maps,
Just
and
like you
then that's going to sit in someone's closet, and then they'll pull it out in 10 years and say, "This is the district." No, it's not.
I just want something I can kind
Yeah.
of look at and soak over.
Yes. Those will be available. And then here, this option, some of it is similar to the last one. The difference again is really in that what is going to be in District 6 versus District 7. The difference here is this top part goes away, and as a result, there's more growth for District 6 in this area relative to District 7. Otherwise, this map is almost identical to the last one for all the other districts, and it was built that way with the same core components. But this was just to give a little bit of option if District 6 and 7 could go in different places. Your two districts are kind of just what, you've got core components, but outside of that, those are the areas that were able to pick up the most ground that was in the middle. So they can go in a lot of different directions. There's a lot of options there. But otherwise, this map is fairly similar to the last one. There is one distinction, though, for District 1, and that is it goes all the way to 85 instead of US 1. That's one big difference.
Ain't Timbuktu on that other side of 85?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, at least I don't have to go over 85.
Right. 85, this would be, 85 would be the natural geography. That would be
I know.
the distinction between the two districts.
I just look at Andy's and going from way over there all the way to the other end.
Between me and
Probably take about an hour to go from one
Well, I mean, it does now. So there's the trade. The trade here is you lose the this part here and gain this part here.
Yeah.
So it is there's definitely a lot more to go than in some of the earlier options than the first two options. But at the same token, it also does trade some areas for other areas. So it doesn't probably grow that much in terms of length to go, because you still have a major highway that you're able to access the north part to the south. Yeah.
You have to pack an overnight bag when you drive your district, don't you?
No, I just give me something to eat, but other than that, we all right.
So to answer the question that was already raised, we do intend to have the displays be visible for the general public and of course for the members of the board. We are going to put it on the county's GIS website. We're going to be able to put a layer that has all four options so that anybody could go in there, zoom in as far as they want, type in their address to see what district they'd be in. That is not up yet. The goal is to have it up this week, but that will be where it will be hosted. That was the easiest option. That was the least amount of work, with a format that people are familiar with a site that people are familiar with. We are going to put a link on the county's website to that page, so that it will be able to be found that way. We definitely want comments. I want comments from the board members. I want comments from the public. They can email those comments, or they can draft them as the schedule in the early slide indicated. We are going to have multiple opportunities for verbal public comment. So if people wanted to write down their thoughts and bring it to us in May, that's welcomed, but we'll also take email submissions as well. And then that will also be posted on the county website. We'll have a little redistricting page that we'll create under the Board of Supervisors page on the county website. But that's the goal here. I can also email the PowerPoint presentation so you have a static one, but there will be a dynamic one that will be forthcoming. And that's the end of the presentation.
Okay, I have a question, not a question, just a statement. I was reading the newspaper, and I thought when we did the contour of the South Hill, because of the wards.
Yes.
Okay. But in the paper, it did not have the choice that I made. I made the first choice of C, and then Barbara and Tanner fed into that, said they would agree with that. My constituents, they don't know how I voiced my opinion, so I like for it to be recorded. I did choose option C, and that was the first one. That's all.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions of Alex concerning the redistricting?
There's a lot involved.
Time to digest it.
Yes, look at it
Take a
more.
look at it and see what.
I'd really like to congratulate Alex. I mean, he did a
Yeah,
lot
oh,
of work on this.
Excellent job.
He met 10 days ago, and he was gone about half of that time. And he still got all this together. And also, he didn't, if you look at those maps, they're much more compact than what you've seen over the last 3 decades, which were spider webs at best. And I'm not sure, you might have had a C or an E, or I don't know, your district wrapped around every which way. And if you look at these, they're all much more compact in keeping with what's the current guidelines.
Did a good job.
It was a good time to hire Alex.
Yes, sir. I'm very pleased.
I seem to remember you doing it last time, Wade.
Yeah, I'm very pleased. I'm
It
just
wasn't
very
pretty.
pleased.
I just do it.
For you, it wasn't pretty anyway.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. And we'll get all this hammered out. Okay, we have some appointments to take care of this morning. First, the terms of Mr. Jerry Lassiter and Mr. Jerome Watson on the County Planning Commission will expire on May 30th. They are both eligible for reappointment.
Mr. Chairman, I had talked with Mr. Watson last night, and he is willing to go for another reappointment, so I want to reappoint him for the next session.
All right, we have a motion to reappoint Mr. Jerome Watson.
Okay, I've talked with Ms.,
Ma'am.
can I speak now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I had talked with Mr. Laster earlier, and he said he'd go for another 4 years.
All right, excellent. So we have a motion then to reappoint Mr. Lassiter and Mr. Watson to the County Planning Commission. Any further discussion on those motions, those nominations? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. You got a, somewhere I got it anyway, a memo from Mr. Taylor concerning the 5 persons to serve on the Board of Equalization. And I can't seem to have lost my memo somewhere. That's under M.
On the M.
Yeah, here we go. So Ed has recommended these 5 individuals: Ms. Georgia Frank, Mr. L.J. Dorniak, Mr. James Jefferson, Ms. Nancy Bowman, and Mr. Clark Dotson. He has highly recommended them to serve on this very important Board of Equalization. So the any discussion on any of these individuals, any other nominations that need to come before the board?
Like me, he's got some mighty good people on there.
Yeah.
So, can I get a motion then that we accept Mr. Taylor's recommendations and fill the Board of Equalization with these 5 individuals?
Move to accept Mr. Taylor's recommendations on these board members, Mr. Chairman.
All right, you've heard that motion. Any further discussion?
Clarification, this is a recommendation to the circuit court, which
Right.
does have to appoint them. I just want to make sure everybody
Gotcha.
understood.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, you have in your packet the consent calendar. If there are no questions concerning the consent calendar, the Chair would entertain a motion to adopt it as presented.
Chairman, motion to adopt the consent calendar as presented.
Motion to adopt consent calendar. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. You also have in your packet a memo from Patricia Holmes Lewis, the chairperson of the Easton High School Highway Marker Committee. And as she indicated, have worked diligently to get this highway marker honoring the school's history and contributions. And that installation is dedicated to be dedicated on Saturday, June the 25th at 10 a.m. And we're all invited as members of this board to this historic event. And of course, obviously, the public was certainly encouraged to attend this event as well. So that's just for informational purposes only. Okay, this time I'll turn it over to our attorney, Mr. Slayton, for a couple of legal matters.
Yes, sir. The first is the county undertook an economic development project, the construction of a water booster station on Highway 58 between Big Fork and Boydton. That booster station will enhance the water distribution system that serves the westernmost part of the county. In keeping with the county's past practice, typically these sort of facilities are transferred to the IDA because they're economic development. So the recommendation is to adopt the resolution to transfer the 0.43 of an acre in easement from the county to the IDA.
Okay, all right, you've heard that recommendation from our attorney. Any discussions on the matter? I need a motion to approve?
moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, a motion to approve the deed transfer for booster station. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
The other is two landowners came forward asking that the county abandon a platted but unopened road that adjoins 5 lots in the county near Boydton. The county worked with their attorney, who has completed all of the steps necessary to effect this. All of the adjoining landowners are supportive. It would now be appropriate for you to adopt this resolution. If you do, then there will be recommendations made which will effect it. In other words, your action will effect that abandonment. So the recommendation would be to adopt the resolution as presented.
Okay, need a motion then to adopt the Halter Plat vacation resolution?
Move to adopt the resolution, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to adopt. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to board member matters. That concludes our regular agenda items. We do have a closed session coming up after board member matters, personnel committee matters. So at this time, we will move on to board member matters. Mr. Jennings, I'll pick on you today.
I don't take it as being picked on. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First want to thank Alex for all the work you've done on redistricting. So really laid it out where we can make a good decision there. So I know it's a lot of hard work. It's a puzzle that moves around all the time. So anyway, thank you there. At our last board meeting, I'd mentioned about having an ag committee meeting. And when I got in touch with Judy and Jenny and we started doing some emails and that kind of thing, we haven't had one since 2019, and we actually need to reorganize. So that being said, what I'd like for each board member to do is either they can appoint whoever they had on it, they can reappoint somebody else if they'd like, pick somebody in your district that is agriculture related, and it can bring something to the table. And if you could bring that nominee back to the full board at our May meeting, that would be good. That may be a little aggressive time-wise, but it gives everybody 30 days. Sure. So we're trying to reorganize, and then once we do that, we'll have a meeting. And Taylor Clark has been sending Wayne and I some details and information about how we need to do that and all of that. So what we need from this board is to pick a representative that lives in their district that represents agriculture, and bring it back at our May meeting for approval.
And right now, the ag committee consists of each district representative, right?
That is correct. Okay. But it's kind of gotten a little bit somewhat fractured over the years. When you say, Wayne, in the last 5 years, maybe, as far as the members and what their responsibilities are and that kind of thing. So right. We're trying to, Wayne and Taylor, trying to get it reorganized of how it should be, how it was originally intended to be, and that kind of thing. So, but,
and could possibly staff senator who all those people are.
Yeah, would you text me or email me?
All of this. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hargrove?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. To have a school finish and to be built on a time schedule and to meet budget of such that magnitude, when it's finished, it's going to be rather exciting and somewhat invigorating. Man, I said it'd be much invigorating to walk those halls and to see what has been accomplished. And also, this week is Telecommunication Week. And I have mentioned it before, and if you have something to say, please call them or just be nice and drop something off and tell them how much you appreciate them. They go through a lot of work taking calls for 911 center. And also, Mr. Alex, thank you very much. Mr. Tanner, thank you very much.
It's not only me, it's Sterling too.
But if I could, Mr. Alex, if you will, please, can you send Mr. Brankley a copy of my district so that he can see or he can stop overlook roads, and so we can get that paved as soon as possible. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Just give him all the dirt roads.
Mr. Wilkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will echo both points they said. It really is amazing, as you said earlier, about, completing this on time, the school on time and on budget. On a much smaller scale, just trying to find parts or anything, or any supplies at this time is unbelievable.
Exactly.
And to have it all in place on a project like that, we should be thankful for Mr. Nichols' leadership, Skanska, and for our local leadership who had the idea, I feel like, of getting Skanska, getting a firm to manage it. That was a smart move. And, hopefully things will work out with that. And again, kudos to Alex on such a job he's got in front of him. Jump right into the fire here as soon as you got on board. But anyway, I know you do well with it. And lastly, just want to wish everybody a happy Easter and just remember the real reason for this holiday, Jesus Christ. So that's all I have.
Thank you. I'm just very happy that this county is fortunate enough to see the construction going on in this county, and all the things positive related to that. I went into Arrington's the other day to pick out a refrigerator, and Enrique says that one's taken, that one's taken, that one's taken, that one's taken, that one's reserved. I mean, it was just you got to get your order in ahead of time if you want something like that, because these builders are building, and the ones I've talked to, they're 2 years plus out, and that's just very positive. This county. It's, of course, more tax base for this county too. But the main thing is, there's more people moving into the community and investing in our county, and it just is a positive sign. Along with Microsoft, of course, that is certainly a draw. And just want everybody to enjoy our spring break coming up in school. I don't know what you're going to do with your kids. I've made arrangements for mine, but. And we got 2 virtual days this week, Thursday and Friday, which makes it even tougher. But it's nice the kids to have a break and in between all that. And of course, the ball season, if you go to any of the ball fields, you see the kids out there playing, and it's just it's such a joy to see these kids from, just like this right here on up, and to see them out there having a good time, seeing the parents talking to each other. It's just what our community is all about. And I just hope that even if you don't have any kids involved, it's just a great show, to go out and take a look at your local kids almost any night and see a good ball game. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Tanner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, as other board members have said, the new school looks amazing. Mr. Nichols, thank you. Look forward to seeing it, going through it. Also, when the time comes, I have some screen printing equipment I'd like to donate to the school, because I think between the FBLA and the art department, they could find something to do with it to help out the school. As far as Roanoke River Service Authority, at our meeting, we did discuss, and they voted there will be a 10% rate increase from the Service Authority this year. But it was necessary just because of the rising costs of everything. And also, they've had several water line issues this year that have cost a little bit more than they have in the past. So notices have been sent out to all of the towns and all that have been affected by it. Also, the Meharry River Regional Jail. We continue to try to recruit people, but as everybody knows, finding people to fill positions right now is just hard. It is the goal to get our jail here back open. Right now, we just don't have the staffing to be able to do it. So we do continue to work on that to make that happen. And what Mr. Hargrove said about the telecommunicators week, everybody reach out to them. Being in fire EMS, you understand that sometimes they're the voice in the night. I mean, they're the ones that people call when they're having their worst day. So if nothing else, go on their Facebook page and there's a little thing on there, just tell them thank you. Because they really are the unsung heroes. Also, Alex, great job. We'll see if we can adjust a little bit to help Mr. Hargrove out, but maybe we can give it back to him too. And wishing everybody a happy Easter also. And also, I think our sheriff had a birthday a couple days ago, so I want to wish him a happy birthday. I heard the fire department didn't have to come to put out all the candles, so that's always good.
So he can blow it out.
That's all I have.
All right. Concerning the regional jail, are y'all looking at any ways that jail concept can be changed, that it would require less personnel? I don't know.
I think right now we're pretty much at about the minimum. We can change that. They have done a little shifting around to be able to do it.
Right.
But like I said, right now it's just trying to keep people and
Right.
recruit people, and
Right.
everybody's seen it across DOC. Everybody, we've done like hiring bonuses and that type stuff,
Right.
and it may have helped a little bit, but it's not the career field that a lot of people are choosing right now.
Right.
So it is hard to.
I understand.
Ms. Carter, you got anything to add?
We have looked at some other alternatives, as Mr. Tanner said, because we're at such minimum at Alberta, none are options at this time.
Gotcha. Okay. Ms. Lundy?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to commend the Department of Highway. They're doing a great job getting the roads cleaned up of trash and debris, especially in my area. I know Upload Mill was 47. And hats off to Alex for a great job. When he was being interviewed, I knew he was a special person for this county. And I told him that. I think he remembered that. I said, he is the ideal person we need for this county. I think he fits well. Okay? So you're doing a great job so far. Continue. Lastly, the school. Everybody just saying, school, school, school. Yeah, we took several years. Wayne Carter knows about this, and some of the other of you who's on the board at that time. We saved money. We had steering committees for like 6 months, bringing in people, input from the citizens. We had a citizen panel for about 6 weeks. We did all kinds of things. We had it on the computers so that people could respond to it, children in the school, middle and high school, parents could respond to it, and anybody in the county could respond to it. And lastly, the biggest thing, we had to make a compromise on where to put the school. So I think everybody in this county had an input in there, thanks to Mr. Nichols. But I think everybody in this county who wanted to had an input. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Frank?
Well, one of the things I think today, the amendment to the zoning ordinance for these solar farms, I think that was a good move on our part. Sometimes I still wonder if that's enough. I rode through there by Bluestone this morning. Saturday morning, and I don't know how efficient they are or not, but all the way across that fields of panels after panels, I bet you 25% of them won't turn in the right direction to the sun. I think some of them will turn that way, some will turn the complete opposite way, some of them will flat. I always heard, what I've read, they're not really that efficient anyhow, and I can hardly believe that they are very efficient, the way they are set up or how they are being run and stuff like that, and doing that. And back to we had an educational meeting with the schools, and we talk about, and it's certainly good to see that new school coming on. But realize in 5 months we're going to be out of these other, a little less than that. We're going to be out of these old four schools. 2 of them, I assume we'll probably just bulldoze down. 2 of them that we got to kind of keep open until we talk about we're going to do something with the elementary schools. And I think we need to really, after this budget, maybe set in and really decide what we're going to do with these elementary schools and some kind of a time frame and see where the money is and stuff. But I don't think we can drag this on a long time, because in fairness to the school, they got to keep at least 2 of these high schools open to put these kids in. Do they spend, the business that any of us in, do you spend $5,000 versus $200, how long, how big of money you spend. In the same way with the elementary schools, some of the parts that it looks like we may be getting rid of some of it and restoring other, the money that we spend on those, do we spend it for a 2-year plan or a 5-year plan or a 15-year plan? You don't want to just keep, we got a little money now, but we don't want to throw away no money on this thing. So I think it's real important that right after this budget, we need to kind of really sit in and come down with some facts and stuff of what we actually gonna do. And Alex, thank you again for all the work you've done on that. And, Mr. Hargrove always comes up with some good ideas and makes me think. And I was thinking about, who am I going to lose? Who am I not going to lose? Who am I going to gain? But now I'm going to go back and look at those maps and see how many dirt roads I got on. And I picked up any new dirt roads. So do not give me more dirt roads, okay? That's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Spain.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A lot has been said, and Mecklenburg County, we have a lot of big projects going on now when we really think about it. Mecklenburg for staying on top of the school system, that's huge. Redistricting, that's great. Thank Ally. And we're addressing the housing problem. Each one of our towns plan to have some apartment put up, and that's great. And one big problem is our waste, landfill. Gottschalk, I know you're going to be jumping on top of that. There's a big issue to have the main site and waste is very, very important. And let us not forget the real reason for this Easter season. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Carter and I attended a WE Council meeting recently and approved contracts for spraying of the lake areas for the Lingbia and hydrilla. And, hydrilla is pretty much under control. Lingbia, maybe not so much, but we're working very diligently to get that under control. And I just want to assure the board that the money that we appropriate for the WE Council is being well spent, protecting our lakes. Ms. Lundy, I think it was last month, commented about the traffic at the elementary school, and I got to witness that for myself the other day. We don't need any school buses out there. I mean, everybody's picking it up and delivering, it looks like to me. It was incredible to see those cars winding all the way back out into Plank Road. It was, I couldn't believe it. But anyway, yeah, this is, for Christians, this is Holy Week. And on Wednesday at noon, the South Hill United Methodist Church will be having a Lenten service and invite all of you all in the public to attend. That will be at 12 noon, and immediately following that will be a luncheon. And we would certainly like to see everybody there. And also had the opportunity yesterday to go to Clarksville to attend the Last Supper drama that was put on by the Clarksville Community Players, I think is what they're called. Wow, it was outstanding. It was incredible, the talent that's in that show. Our superintendent being one of those people that was involved in that. So that's all I have. After we go into closed session, we will take a 5-minute recess. So at this time, I need a motion to go into closed session to consider personnel matters.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to go into closed session. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Spain?
Chairman, on behalf of the Personnel Committee, we recommend Evergreen Solution LLC to be the next contractor to come in and do a study of our time. Salary.
All right, you've heard that motion. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, anyone else have anything to bring before this board at this time? If not, we will stand adjourned until our May meeting. I'm not sure what that date is right off the top of my head, but we'll,
The superintendent would like to have a meeting with the Education Committee on May the 4th at 5 o'clock. He will send that notice to you at the school board office.
okay, all right. All right, well, y'all have a good day and a blessed week.
Late at night.
Okay.